Hey, everybody, welcome to Hooked on Sonics episode 22. Hold on a second. Hey, Bailey, go fetch my zebra. I'm Bruce. That's Tony. Tony, I think we got a really special guest today. Would you like to introduce this fine gentleman?
I sure would, man. This is Chuck G's from one of my favorite local bands here in Columbus, Ohio, Beyond Neptune. He is the guitar player and one of my great friends when it comes to this music scene. Thank you, Chuck, for joining us. You want to introduce
Thank you
yourself?
for having me, guys.
Cheers.
Absolutely.
Cheers. So Chuck has been part of the Columbus music scene for quite some time. As far back as I can remember, I think a band called Black Rain.
Black Winter.
Black Winter. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, Black Winter. And his bass player was former drummer, obviously, in several incantations of what they do.
Great drummer.
Greg Green Jr., very good friend of mine. Greg and I used to close Papa John's and open Papa John's down there on Parsons Avenue for fucking God, it had to be years, man, fucking years. But Greg became a great friend of mine, and through Greg, Chuck became a good friend of mine. So definitely want to give a shout out to Greg and the rest of the fellows from Beyond Neptune. I believe your son plays in the band as well.
Yes, he does. All right. Yeah.
Sorry, didn't want to let it out.
That's okay.
I didn't mean to.
Some people know. Some people don't.
I think you guys got one of the greatest freaking metal last names, man.
Yes, I mean I try to use the the G as and he uses the full name.
Yeah. Cool. Bruce, what have you been listening to this week?
Well, I have been, as maybe a lot of you guys seen, Saturday was Record Store Day. It was a really great event. Lost and Found Records puts on a great event. Live bands, beer trucks, lots of local radio stations and vendors and stuff. So I picked up some really cool stuff. So picked up some Black Keys. It's the official recording of the first show they did as the Black Keys in Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Nice.
Picked up an Allman Brothers band from the Syria Mosque in Pittsburgh in 1971.
Love those old fold-outs like that, man.
Yeah,
dude, this is a great album. Great album.
Wow. Yeah. I bet. The Allman Brothers are sweet.
Oh, God. Yeah. Then a special edition of Rolling Stone's Beggar's Banquet.
I know you're a big fan of that album.
I am. I really like this album. It's got some swirling of gray, blue, black, and white.
Did you get
on the vinyl? Who?
Did you get a nice deal on it?
Yeah. They're all reasonably priced. And then I got the Warren Zevon, The Wind. This is one of my favorite Warren Zevon albums of all time. 20th anniversary of this album. Strongly recommend this album to anyone who remotely loves Zevon.
I want to come back to that Zevon thing here in a minute.
Yeah,
because I got something to say about that.
Okay, and then one of my things I was really hoping to get the Eric Carr.
So I had to go. I had to go check out the Poughkeepsie show. If you guys are talking about Mark St. John,
yeah,
I had to go check that out, dude. Yeah. No, I'm a big Kiss fan, so
that's excellent.
Nice.
Yeah, we could talk hours on that damn show.
Oh God.
So
man.
Before I wrap about what I was going to say, I was been listening to, but Warren Zevon's like one of those artists, like, and I know you can help me, Chuck. I know for a fact that Blue listens to him.
Well, Blue definitely does.
Who did Burn the Flames?
Rocky Erickson.
Rocky Erickson. So I put Warren Zevon in that classification, and a lot of people don't even know about guys like Warren Zevon and Rocky Erickson and shit like that.
13 floor elevators and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. They wrote some really cool, spaced out folk style stuff at times, man. And it's love that stuff. Love that stuff. Grew up on a lot of that stuff, man. So yeah, good pickup on that Warren Zevon there, dude.
Oh, for sure. And this is my favorite. This is an actual record store day release from a couple years ago. Screamin' Jay Hawkins. What that is, dude.
Nice.
This man was so influential to guys like Black Sabbath and other bands like this. You gotta check this guy out. So freaking cool. His stage show was out of this world, for especially back then. So
yeah,
that's what I've been listening to.
Nice. Who I've been listening to? I listened to the new Dorothy Cantrell album. I'm going to give it a solid 10. She stuck with the formula. The album sounds great. Death Folk Country, if you get the chance, check it out. She's the singer for Winhand, and I will tell you, you'll never hear a more haunting voice. Listen to her solo stuff. It is amazing, amazing, amazingly haunting. Who else? I was checking out some Jackson Browne, man. I was listening to Jackson Browne's greatest hits this week. So every once in a while, I like to spin that album. Was listening to some Rainbow this week, just because we had talked about it recently on the show. And I'm a big Richie Blackmore fan as far as his guitar playing goes. I am not a fan of him as a human being. I hear he's just this
a difficult guy.
He's just an angry old man, dude. And I don't want to grow up and be an angry old man. And it scares me that if I should ever do so, especially with the beard and everything. But what else? I think I was listening to. Oh, I'm gearing up for the Bongzilla show, man. So, and the Ruby and Hatchet show. I'm just trying to find somebody to go see Ruby with me.
Right.
Yeah. So, other than that, man, what you been listening to, Chuck?
So the Nevermore discography.
Okay.
I mean, just under the radar for me. Like, I remember when I was younger listening to a band called Sanctuary, and the singer was like, he went from that to Nevermore, and like they started Nevermore, and like I just always, I don't know, they flew under my radar, and then I picked up on them. Somebody was talking about them with me, and I was like, I want to dive in. Excellent progressive metal, like almost every album.
Nice. Nevermore. I've heard of them. I haven't listened to them.
Yeah, check them out. My Dying Bride, another band that just flew under my radar.
Yeah.
How? They're sweet. Like doom, like a death doom type of thing. Gothic metal. Like there's a lot of hits, little misses. Just excellent discography.
Nice. I'll check it out.
Yeah, and then Catatonia.
Okay. Now I have listened to some Catatonia stuff. I want to say I was listening to them right around the time I was listening to a lot of gent stuff, like Animals as Leaders and Mushroom Head and shit like that. Or not Mushroom Head, but Meshuggah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Meshuggah's fucking hard.
Yeah, they're brutal, man. They're brutal.
And then last but not least, I've been listening to a lot of Kiss. That's right. Oh, I have.
Represent.
Yeah, can't help it. Even like do the 80s.
we all go back to it at some point. You know what I mean? Especially if you were a Kiss fan. I was a huge Kiss fan. And to this day, I still love the essence of what Kiss was from the, even up to the 90s when everything pretty much ended. I was excited by Psycho Circus and all that, man, but the whole thing that is Kiss now is so far removed from what the original product was. It's just like you got to stand back and fucking laugh like these guys have got to fucking quit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it's time. It's time for sure. And I guess I should add in that new Metallica album.
So listen, man. Everybody's been in my fucking ear about that. Is it that fucking good?
It's good. It's not. I don't. It's not great.
Completely agree.
There are touches of greatness, like they sprinkled greatness in.
Yeah.
Like they just sprinkled a little bit in, and then like, okay, now that's just how they wanted to do. I mean, like I think that if they had somebody else, helping edit some of that stuff down or something, but what do I know? They're millionaires. They're at the top of their game.
So,
Anywhere they go, they're gonna,
The tracks that I've heard, I have to agree, man. It's the same thing I feel about it. You hear Essence of Greatness, but then you go, what the fuck are they doing here?
Yeah, but 9
so,
out of 12 songs made my list.
Really?
Yeah.
That's solid, man. But you know what? I'm going to attribute that to one thing. I don't give a fuck about James, Lars, or Kirk. I honestly think this is, if I'm right, this is the first album that Trujillo's played all the bass on.
No.
No, I don't know.
I do not think he was all over Death Magnetic.
I think Bob Rock was Hardwired.
I think Bob Rock was still involved. He was all over Hardwired, and Hardwired was moving towards the right direction of what we remember as old school thrash. I'm hearing as far as album. Let me talk to you about this. What's the better album? The new Metallica album or the new fucking Overkill album?
Oh.
Let's talk thrash. Let's talk thrash.
Man, how you gonna do that to me?
I just did.
Okay, so here. I'm going to go with Metallica's new album.
Oh, now I gotta hear it.
That's right.
I gotta hear it.
Yeah. You know why? The songs are more memorable. There's something more memorable about what they're doing as opposed to Overkill's giving you the same. They're Overkill. What do you want to expect out of Overkill?
Right.
You're going to expect exactly what they gave you the last album, the album before that, the album before that, and they're all great. But Metallica just has something that's more memorable.
So there's been a lot of talk about the big four, and if there was an added big fifth, who would get your vote?
Testament.
It'd be a hard toss up between Testament and Overkill for me.
Yeah. No, me too.
Just because, dude, there's
Overkill taking over like that early era of Overkill. Man, like the first time I heard him was on the Taking Over album. Like
what about
the
you,
whole
Bruce?
sound between them and Metallica and Flotsam and Jetsam, like those are the bands that made me want to like have that palm muty crunch.
Right.
Totally. Just like in Beyond Neptune, that's almost the sound that we use. Like it's not necessarily a doom sound. Like Candlemass used the more metal, like the thrash metal sound, but in a doomy, backdrop.
Right.
Yeah.
Bruce, what about you? Who do you think should be the fifth if there was a big five? I don't think Anthrax should even be in part of the picture.
Don't
I agree.
Say that. How dare you? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Of all the big boys, of all the big boys I've seen live, dude, Anthrax was the worst.
Oh no!
And let me tell you something.
Great,
let me
dude.
tell you something.
Oh my god!
And let me tell you something. Between you and me, you and I can have a conversation off air about something that happened for me here recently, in regards to a member. I won't disparage anybody on air ever, but I will tell you, I had a not so pleasant experience with somebody from Anthrax.
Oh.
One-on-one. One-on-one.
Interesting.
Tony?
I'll put it to you like this.
Hey.
I'll put it to you like this. It's all about this. Bruce, you're fifth.
Waylon Jennings. You know what? I would.
We're talking thrash. Big five. Big five of thrash. And you got a good reference of thrash.
Come back to me later. I got to think about it. I don't know.
Take some time. Think about it. But I'll write before the end of the show.
Yeah, sure. Hey,
What
I
do
mean,
you
there's
think,
a lot
Bruce?
of deserving ones, but you can only pick one,
exactly. Exactly.
and you can't remove anthrax.
Well, you can gently
Oh,
push them to the side and, oh, sorry, guys. Don't know what happened.
oopsie.
Yeah.
Bruce, what are you drinking?
Oh, I am drinking good old Colorado Kool-Aid, Coors Light.
Cool. Tone's having Jose Cuervo Tradicional with pink lemonade.
All right. Chuck's having some Starbucks coffee
Hell yeah.
and some Tahitian treat mixed with some Fuji apple water with a popsicle in there as ice. And my Beyond Neptune cup, shameless plug, guys.
Hell yeah.
Shameless plug.
What's
All
that
right,
flavor profile with Starbucks?
What's that?
I said, what's that flavor profile in your mouth when you take a swig of Starbucks and then some Tahitian treat?
It's just night and day.
You
Like,
think?
this is definitely sweet. Like
Yeah.
my Tahitian treat is definitely sweet, but this,
Savory? Is that savory?
yeah, no, there's definitely an immediate change. Like, it definitely just tasted like Starbucks. I'm not tasting any kind of Tahitian treat aftertaste.
Good.
You know what I mean?
That's good.
Yeah, no, there's no weird mixture taste.
Just real quick, Chuck, do me a favor, man. Tell us what you got going on.
Okay, yeah. So Beyond Neptune is getting ready to release our new CD June 2nd. We'll be doing a CD release show on June 2nd with Incident, Confined by Silence, and Dressed in Electric.
Nice.
At Ruby
I'll be there
Tuesdays.
for that show.
Yes,
I'll be there
please,
for that show.
please. And this is I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but this is what the CD
Absolutely.
cover is. We're going to have
Yours
shirts,
forever.
album shirts. We got album shirts coming. Or no, actually, they're already here. A little inside there.
Nice. Can I get you guys to do me a favor? When you consider your next batch of merchandise, man, can you do me a favor? Order me a patch.
A patch?
I want a patch for my jacket.
That's actually a good idea. We haven't thought about patches, I don't think. Or maybe we haven't done it, but
I would love a patch for my jacket. And if you got a 4X shirt, I'll buy one.
I think we got, I don't know what we have. 3X, maybe.
Give me a 4X, I'll wear it. Don't you ever?
We'll see what's up, man. Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, we just released the first single off the album, Crawl. It's available on iTunes and Spotify and Amazon and Bandcamp.
Fantastic song.
Not Bandcamp yet. YouTube, we got like a YouTube video thingy for not a video, but like just where you can read along with the lyrics or whatever. And it's advertising the show for June 2nd.
Good. Good. How much are tickets?
Cool.
So it's going to be at Ruby Tuesdays, which is it's at the door.
Yeah.
So we're looking at what, $5-10 tops?
$5, I think. I think it's $5.
Nice. And Ruby Tuesdays is a venue right up there off of, I want to say, Indianola in the High Street campus area, if I remember.
Wasn't it on Summit? It used to be on Summit back in the day.
You're correct, Bruce. Yeah.
It's on Summit.
Hey!
Okay. Summit and 19th.
Summit and 19th. Okay. And $5 to $10 you catching that Beyond Neptune.
I think it's 1978 Summit.
Now, I don't know anything about a couple of the other bands that you named, but I did see Dressed in Electric open up for the Winery Dogs here recently, and those dudes were badass. Gudger opened up on that show too, which are some really good friends of mine. And I'll tell you what, if you get a chance, June 2nd, right?
What's that?
Yep.
June 2nd, right?
Yes, June 2nd, yes.
Ruby Tuesdays, get your ass there. You're not going to see a better local show for $5, man.
Dude, check out Incident. They're releasing their EP as well, I think. I believe so. They're
nice.
And Clint from Insidiant. He's the one who put this all together. So
Thank you,
it's gonna be
Clint.
a fucking good time.
Looks like we have another special guest this evening.
My
Swamp
cat's ass.
Oh, yeah.
Cuckoo.
It's a better
so
look than I got.
I'm going to go over some news real quick, and then we'll go ahead and get
Yep.
into these
Yeah,
reviews.
we got a couple over here.
Nice.
Love it.
So we pulled we pull a lot of our news from over at blabbermouth.net. We want to plug those guys and say thank you for having that opportunity to share that information with us. But some things I noticed this week, man, big things, and I'm gonna wrap this in a Metallica block. Metallica 72 Seasons lands at number 2 on the Billboard charts. Also lands at number 1 in the UK in the first 15 years. In case you didn't hear, Jason Newsted is possibly working on some Newsted material. If you did not hear that Newsted album, I pity you. I pity you. I pity you. It was a phenomenal album. Phenomenal.
Got no
Shame
push.
on you if you didn't hear it. Not a joke. It was a great album. It would get
It
a
was
solid
fantastic album.
10. I'd get a solid 10 from me every fucking day of the week. It was a great, great album. We got Morbid Angel, Trey Ascott, I believe his name is. He went down. He went down in the show, and
He sure did.
it doesn't look good. Let's hope everything comes together for him. Sounds like his mom says he suffered from a back injury and he was dehydrated. We'll see how this plays out. Let's hope he gets back on the road. My brother just got to see them live here at the King of Clubs and thought it was an excellent, excellent show. I think he actually got a picture with Trey, as a matter of fact. Jack Osbourne celebrates 20 years of sobriety. This is one I snagged out of the work for you, Chuck. Former Death members Rick Ross and Terry Butler are planning to work on new music with Left to Die. So I don't know if you've heard anything about that. So there's something for you. Iron Maiden announces fall 2023 tour dates in Western Canada. Aerosmith is announcing a 40-plus date U.S. tour. And with that being said, that's the news.
Nice.
Thanks, Tony.
Yes.
All right. I tell you what, guys, let's get to these album reviews. I almost bought a bottle of Aquanet and some other 80s treats because this was an 80s extravaganza this week. Thanks to Herman.
We want to thank Herman Morris for these albums. I'd like to talk to him later about this.
We're going to thank him personally in the back of some alleyway somewhere.
We need to bring him on a show and discuss what it's all in fun. It actually is all in fun. So Bruce, you want to go first this week, or do you want me to?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So I had Billy Squier's Signs of Life. It was his 4th album, released in July of 1984. It was actually co-produced by Meatloaf songwriter Jen Steinman. Tony, do you happen to remember the first thing I texted you this morning?
No. Hey, dude. Hey.
Yeah.
I've done some daydreaming.
So just to let everyone in, the first thing I texted Tony this morning was Rex Manning. This album felt like a Rex Manning from Empire Records release all over it. And I was like, God, I'm getting old because I kind of like this.
Oh.
This album is the perfect 80s FM rock standards album. It's got some catchy riffs, some solid solos on most of the songs, and a lot of synthesizer. So some of there was 3 singles off this album. It was All Night Long, Rock Me Tonight, which I think was the biggest hit off this album, and Eye on You. For me, this album kind of took a minute to wind up where I actually really liked it. I didn't get I probably got into the second half of the album until I found some songs I really liked. Another 1984. Great lyrics ruined by bad music. The music on this was trash, but the lyrics are really cool. I encourage everyone to check that out, especially in these times. And yeah, that'd be good. Some of my favorites on this was Hand Me Downs. That Hand Me Downs reminded me of some classic 80s AC/DC. This song kind of reminded me of something I would find on AC/DC's like Heat Seeker or Fly on the Wall. It's not bad. It's really good. Really good, real solid solos, things like that, all throughout. Sweet Release is a great ending track for this album to me. It's just really good. This album really closed out with just being really solid. Chuck, do you have any kind of experience with this album at all?
Just Rock Me Tonight.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, and it was a hit, you know.
Yeah.
I unfortunately listened to the wrong Billy Squier album. I could have swore Tony told me it was Don't Say No. Tony, am I correct? Yes.
Hey, that would have been one I would have told you. But...
Okay, well, the answer for that album, if there was a review, it would be, the answer is no. Sorry, Billy. The first 3 songs, he was correct about releasing those in a row.
Yeah.
My Kind of Lover and that is The Stroke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
they're classic radio hits, you know what I mean? But I think that was a situation where the studio had this really great guitar player, guy who had a pretty good voice that could sing and play guitar at the same time. And they didn't really know what to do with him. And it was just a time and era that I don't think Billy really, do you think he really wanted to write music like that? I mean, I think the guy rocks a little too hard to want to write music like that, man.
The songs that rock.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? Again, this whole album really just fit into every FM rock standard cliche.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing was
that's
like,
why I think the
like
studio kind of grabbed him, dude. I think the studio people grabbed him and said, let's exploit this.
Yep.
And it's unfortunate because I think we got some good tunes, but man, I wonder if, what he really had control over.
Yeah, who knows? So for me, I actually give this a good 6.5. It's not a bad rating. It's just it's got some catchy stuff, but I'm not going to come to this album very much. It's catchy though. It's catchy. Yeah. I'll give them that. But some of that 1984 song, I hated it minus the lyrics. And Fall for Love was just but yeah, the rest of them pretty solid.
All right. Cool. All right, yeah. You want my shit? What I got? You want what I got? Because I'm going to give you my review. So I had Zebra's debut album. And if I'm correct, this is Zebra from about 1983. Let me just start this off by saying this one statement. I was a big fan of hair metal growing up as a kid. This album is very easy to see how other bands, and there were many of them in this time frame, that got sucked up and spit out and nobody ever fucking knew about them.
Anvil?
Easily. Dude, if it weren't for the movie, would you really know about Anvil?
Yes.
Absolutely not.
No, I would have, yeah.
All right, so we have about so with that being said, I listened to this album, and the only thing for me, it just sounds studio behind a bunch of guys that have talent, and it's misdirected, because there are things that are in this album that make it stand out, but they're not good. There are weird noises that go on in certain weird noises that go on in certain songs, and you go, was that a toy laser gun?
Gas.
And
It's gas.
and why did we put that on the track? The vocalist, the transitioning from something smooth to something a little more aggressive is brutal. It hurts. I have a hard time listening to this gentleman. And I'm not trying to be mean. It just hurts. Like the transitions were very hard. They were very, shoot, you got that smooth 80s fucking silk, and then all of a sudden Brian Johnson screaming in your fucking mug. Like, really weird, man. It was something I was not experienced with. I understand on the US Billboard charts, this album peaked at 29. On Atlantic, there were a lot of good aspects musically to this album. Let me make that very clear as well. But it just seemed like a studio got together and put all their ideas all over 4 guys or 5 guys that they got together, 3 guys maybe. And it reminds me, you know what it reminds me of, Chuck? And you might be familiar with this. Bruce, I don't know you as much. Do you remember Nitro?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
The wrestling show?
Bobby
all
Rock
these
on the
talented
drum.
players, all these talented players, Michelangelo Badio, the singer, whatever his name is, I can't remember his name.
Jim Gillette.
Jim Gillette, amazing singer, but studio-wise, these guys got screwed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, the production's not too good. Kind of like Racer X. You know?
Yeah.
Mm.
So, with that being said, man, I really can't tell you there is a memorable track on this album that makes it memorable, other than there were things about that track what the fuck was going on there? Maybe sometime I'll give it another listen, being that it ranked so high on the Billboard charts. Wow. And it got 4 stars, 3.5 stars on Melodic.
It was a place and time, man. Place and time.
I can understand how a band like this missed my radar. I totally can. Not aware of them. Never were aware of them. I heard Herman mention them a couple times. This wasn't to me what would have been happening for me at that time. With that being said, I'm gonna cut this kind of short since we got about 6 minutes left. I got to give this album a 5, man. Musicianship was there. Great vocalists. A lot of good stuff going on there, man. It just seemed jumbled. It really seemed jumbled for me. Like, what in the world was going on? And some of the song ideas or song titles, super cliche. Super cliche, dude. Come on.
That's
Tell
the
me what
time.
you want. Tell me what you want. One more chance. Slow down. Come on, guys. Come on. Can we come up with something a little better? Other than that, like I said, it gets a 5 from me. No disrespect to the people on the album, people who created the album. It's just not for me.
So if I can add a couple little quick things on that thing, when I heard the wrong Zebra album at first, and I was like, oh God, this is kind of cool. And it was the completely wrong album. So if you get on Spotify, look up Zebra and look up the debut album. It's not them, but it's really cool. Check it out. Second thing is, real quick, some of the first few songs on this album kind of remind me of early Def Leppard.
Yeah, you
had
mentioned that too.
Early Def Leppard, like On Through the Night, High and Dry album.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about it, Chuck? Did you get to listen to this album?
Yeah, I listened to it all the way through. Okay, so Slow Down, the third song, was absolute garbage, if I might you know, like it's just been done 1,000 times and there's 1,000 bands that's done that better. It's just whatever. It's just not for me. The other 8 songs, yes. Wow. I gotta say that when I was like 14 or 15, and I'm 47 now, you can do the math. I would go to Used Kids Records or Magnolias on campus, and I would always see that album for like $1, you know, the cassette. And I never got like Zebra, like that sounds generic. And like you look at the cover, it's like that's generic. So I never always pass it up. Whoa, why did I pass that up? I like all
Wow.
the synth sounds
I
that,
love this.
that you don't like, Tony.
I love this.
Oh, okay, yeah. Tell me what you want. What a song, dude. Oh, what a tune. Uh, When You Get There, second best song on the album. Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah. Why weren't these guys any bigger than they were?
Hey, we go through that all the time. So what are you going to give the album, man?
I'll give it an 8.
Nice.
Nice.
A solid 8.
Nice.
Like maybe even an 8.3, not an 8.5. I mean, the production, you know, it is what it is because of the time. But
Yep.
I mean, like if you listen to like old school punk rock and stuff like that, or black metal, or like especially like early black metal, you can get past the production.
Yeah.
So, a lot of good songwriting. I thought some of the, like you said about the titles are kind of cheesy, you know, which is probably why it always just flew under my radar like this. But
Yeah,
man, musically,
so
and the singer sounds like Axl Rose sometimes.
I do. He was all over the place. He had
And the
some
song
really
Don't Walk Away.
smooth.
Go listen to the song by Nirvana called "Been a Sun." Don't
Oh, I
Walk
love
Away.
that song.
Okay, Don't Walk Away
Well, we
has
have
that riff in it.
Mm.
Nice. Well, we have about 2.5
cool.
minutes left. So
Okay.
with that being said, I definitely want to get your album that you want to pawn off to us for next week. Please let us know what you got going on for us. We got about 2 minutes.
Okay, so album for Bruce, The Devil's Blood. The album is called Epicenter. Yeah, check that out. That's all I can say about that.
Nice.
Do you know?
Sounds
Tony?
uplifting.
I'm not familiar with it.
It's
What
definitely
do you
a
have for me?
suggested listen and a suggested band to listen to. And the other one for you, Tony, would be Ved Buenzende.
All right, you got to spell that for me
Okay.
because you got me. You got me fucked up there, Chuck.
Yeah. VED BUENS, and then ENDE.
Text them.
The album is called Written in Waters.
All right, I'll look forward to it, and you
You
stay
just thank
tuned to
me
the
now.
show next week to see what we get. I'm looking forward to it. We have less than a minute to go. With that being said, you guys can catch Beyond Neptune at Ruby Tuesdays, June 2nd, for their CD release show.
Yes, sir.
All right. Chuck, thanks for dropping in.
In the Arms of Forever.
Bruce,
Is the name of the album.
what is it?
In the Arms of Forever.
In the Arms of Forever. Stay tuned for that. And thank you again for coming on. Stay tuned for how we review these albums, Bruce. I'll see you next week, fellas.
Thanks for having me, guys.
See you,
Take care,
Chuck.
guys.
Thanks, man. Peace.
Have a good night. See ya.
See ya.